Okay, so, hey guys. So I have 8 books that I'm going to be recommending for you guys to read in the summer if you want to, because I know summer can be very boring. In the sun, I tried to hold off filming, and I'm trying to film outside because my mom is sleeping inside, but I held off too long and now the sun is setting and it's in my face. But that was not my intention, so now I can't see and I'm going to be squinting the whole time. But it's fine. It's fine. The first 5 books are all going to be like actual summer recommendations, so like they're summer themed in some kind of way. And then the last 4 are just going to be books that I like. So the first book is Love and Gelato. So this book follows a girl, her name is Lena, and her mother has recently passed. Her mom wanted her to meet her dad that she didn't know existed, who lives in Italy. And if you know me, you know that I love Italy. So she goes to Italy with this father that she's never met. She finds her mother's old journal. In her mother's old journal, she sees the adventures that she went on while experiencing her own in this place that she's never been before, and it's so cute. And then she meets this boy, and this boy is so fun. But it's a cute romance, and it's very summery. That was a terrible description. Hopefully I get better because that was awful. The next one is When We Collided by Emery Lord. I love this book so much. The main character in this book's name is Vivi. And Vivi, I have never met a character in a story that I love more than Vivi, because Vivi is so like, she loves her life and she's just so like sporadic and energetic, and I love her so much. So basically it follows Vivi, and she goes to the coast of California to spend her summer there with her mother, and it's in a little town. And there, in that town, lives a boy named Jonah. And Jonah has 5 siblings. Like, oh my god, I could never. I have 1, and that's plenty. And his father has recently passed, and his mom is dealing with depression. So, Jonah has to deal with all of these children and act like a father figure to them. And it's so amazing. Vivi, like, gets introduced into this family, and she, like, finds a family there. And it talks about bipolar disorder, and, like, oh my god, it's so amazing, and I love this book so much. I read it in one sitting, and it was, oh my god, I love it. So the next book is Call Me By Your Name by André Acimen. I think that's how you pronounce it, but I'm not sure because it's Italian. But yeah, so Call Me By Your Name. There's a movie, it's very popular, a lot of people have seen it. I read the book after I watched the movie, and it's an adult book, so it's a little bit explicit at times, but it's a good book. In the book, we follow the main character, Elio, while he and his family stay at their summer house in Tuscany, Italy, of course, because I love Italy. Every year, Elio's father takes in a student for 6 weeks, and they live with them, and he teaches them, and they help around the house and all that kind of stuff. So basically, what happens in the book is Elio is infatuated with Oliver, which is the summer of 1987's student of the 6 weeks of the summer, I guess, I don't know. So Elio is in love with him pretty much, and it just takes off from there. And just the way that André writes is like amazing. You're like immersed. It's like you're there. The writing is so rich, like everything is descriptive, and it's like you can smell the air. It's crazy. The next book may be a little bit intimidating because it's a little bit thick, but bear with me because this book is so good. It's called Beach Blondes. I'm convinced that this book would make a perfect series, so Netflix, get on that. So we follow a girl named Summer, and she's taking a trip to Key West, Florida to visit her aunt and her cousin, and on the way there is a tarot card lady that tells her that she's going to meet 3 boys, and one of them is going to be the one. But the first guy is Diver, and he's so mysterious and mellow and like down to earth. He's just like a hippie kind of, except for not really. But anyway, so the first guy is Diver. The second guy is Adam. Adam is the state senator's son, so they're rich, and also he's hot. He's so cute, or in my imagination he is at least. And then the third guy is Seth. Seth is the golden boy. He has it all. He's charming, he's cute, he's a good person. Seth is like a 20 out of 10. But he has a girlfriend who just happens to be her cousin. This story, I had very low expectations because it just sounds really cheesy, but it's such a good written story, and it's not it's not like, ooh, girls, drama, It's like actually sophisticated, and like the drama doesn't feel overdone or anything like that. So yes, 10 out of 10 would recommend. So the next one is Summer Days and Summer Nights, and it's an anthology. So it's written by 12 different authors. And this is perfect for people who don't really like reading because it's 12 short stories. These birds are being very loud. If you're bored one day, you can just sit down and read it. Every short story is about 30 pages roughly, so it's really not that hard to read. Also, every single story is completely different. The first 2 stories are actually kind of like horror, kind of. They're kind of like weird. So whenever I first read this, I was kind of put off by that, so I like didn't read it for a couple months, and then I hopped back on, and it's so good. So my favorite stories is Sick Pleasures, Love is a oh my god. Sick Pleasures. I can't say that word. Sick Pleasures, Love is the Last Resort, and oh my god, what is it? So my 3 favorites in this book are A Brand New Attraction, Love is the Last Resort, and Sick Pleasures. These last 4 books are not very summery themed. They're just books that I enjoy that I think you should read because they're good. So the first one is Elenor and Park. So Elenor is very unique. She wears weird clothes, and at first Park does not like her. But he doesn't want her to get bullied, so he lets her sit by him on the bus, and then through that he notices that Elenor is like reading the stories over his shoulder, like his comic books that he reads on the bus. So he slowly and surely starts bringing her books and bringing her music to listen to, and they just go throughout that. And Elenor is in a very abusive family situation, so you get to follow her as she tries to like escape that. It's really great. It's so cute. It's like a hate to love because at first Park does not like this. Next book I love so much. It was a pretty recent read for me, but it's Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. Elenor and Park is also written by Rainbow Rowell. I really like her writing. So Carry On is a little bit thicker, but it's really good. It was actually the first fantasy book that I ever read, besides like Twilight, because Twilight every girl has read pretty much. So Simon Snow is the chosen one in this magical world. And in this magical world, they go to this school called Watford. And at Watford, he has a roommate called Baz. Baz and Simon absolutely hate each other. They're mortal enemies. And also, Simon is convinced that Baz is a vampire, so yeah. But this is not a spoiler, you can just tell from the cover. They end up falling in love, and it's so cute. Baz is the best character ever. He's so sweet and charming. I love Baz so much. He's one of my favorite characters in the book, ever. So that says a lot. This next one, I'm sure you guys have seen because I posted it on my Instagram and I posted it on my Snapchat, and I wouldn't stop talking about it for a second before I calmed down a little bit. But it is The Female of the Species. I love this book so much, and okay, so it's by Mindy McGinnis. Oh my god. That terrified me. There's a cat. Do you hear it? There's a cat. There's a cat. So The Female of the Species follows this girl named Alex. Can you go away? You're being very loud. Anyway, so it follows this girl named Alex. In the book you learn that one of the people we follow is Alex. And Alex's sister has recently been murdered, and not only was she murdered, but she was brutally raped, tortured, just disgusting, vile, sickly nastiness. Hate that guy. And she takes it into her own hands because he ends up getting let off the hook, which is just so great. But guess what? She kills him back, so you know what? That's what you get. She meets this boy, of course, because there's always a boy. And throughout it, you would think that you would not like Alex because she does a lot of weird things. She does a lot of bad things like murder people, and she just, I don't know. But it's so interesting to be in her mind, and I still love her. There's also PK, and we follow her point of view also. She's like the school hoe, I guess you could say, and she's super rude. And at first I hated her, but you kind of grow to appreciate her or like understand where she's coming from. But PK is just rude, and the reason why they call her PK is because she's the preacher's kid, but she goes so far out of her way to make sure that that's not what people see her as. But yeah, this book is amazing, and it talks about a lot about rape culture, and Alex is just so awesome, and I love her, and you should really check it out. Last but not least, this is the last book, 1,000 Splendid Suns. I actually had to read this for school, but I enjoyed it so thoroughly. And this is not a lighthearted book. This is a sad, sad book. I cried like 50 times while reading it. Like oh my God, there's so many heartbreaking things in here. So we follow the story of Miriam, and she is born in Afghanistan. I'm sorry, I cannot say that word very well. Her mom had her before she was married, so basically everybody in the society was like, ooh, bad. So the mother kind of hates Miriam. So eventually Miriam's mother dies. I won't tell you how she dies, but she dies. At 15, Miriam is married off to a 56-year-old man. So that's fun. We also follow this girl named Layla, and her parents were awesome and everything was great, but then they got bombed, so that was super fun and everybody died. And there's also Tyreek. Oof, Tyreek is so fun. And I can't really tell you much about this story without giving a lot away, but just know that if you decide to read this book, I am here for counseling, because I literally told my stepdad about it, I told my mom about it, I told my best friends about it. I told everybody about this book because I think it's such a good story. And I knew nothing about like the Middle East, and now I feel like I know a lot more about the Middle East and like the wars that are going on. And I mean, it's not like the most like informative book, but it's definitely opened my eyes about the Taliban and like what the entire situation really was. So these are my summer book recommendations. I hope you enjoyed. I'm very bad at giving book summaries, so hopefully if you liked this, I'll do more and I'll get better at it with time. But as of now, I'm not very good, but just bear with me. Okay, that's it. Oh, and I'm also sorry I'm super oily.